What's the problem? Why is my son being arrested?
For driving under the influence, ma'am.
He has not been drinking, sir. I'm just saying, if you have falsely arrested him, you're going to be in trouble.
Okay, ma'am.
I promise you, because I know my son.
Place me on the list for driving under the influence, okay?
I don't even drink or anything. That's crazy.
Turn around, put your hands behind your back. Right now you're being placed under arrest for operating while intoxicated, okay?
I'm not intoxicated. Sir, I'm not intoxicated. I blew zero. It's a miscarriage of justice.
What you just witnessed was a driver who was stone cold sober getting arrested for a DUI by a Tennessee officer. And he's not the only one this is happening to. Hundreds of people across the state of Tennessee are being arrested and falsely imprisoned for a DUI when they are 100% sober and haven't had a single drop of alcohol.
Performing a field sobriety test is not what Jeff Adams expected last September.
I figured I could pass it because I wasn't drinking.
How would you like that? Leaving your home completely sober just to head to work and be pulled over and accused of being drunk. And the next thing you know, you're being arrested for a DUI, knowing full and well that you haven't touched an ounce of alcohol. I don't know about you, but even if I'm stone cold sober, I'm so clumsy, I would trip over my own 2 feet just walking out of my house, let alone trying to pass a field sobriety test, putting one foot in front of the other. And guys, don't get me started on just trying to stand on one foot. You can even hear in the video where the man even asked to take a breathalyzer test. He was then told by the officer they would get to that. But they never ever did let him take it. Instead, the officer just arrested him and took him straight to jail.
Why not use a breathalyzer each time? That would at least tell you if that person had been drinking alcohol.
Where they still did not give him the breathalyzer that he requested before they ever arrested him.
You can see in the video, Adams was taken to get a blood draw instead. After that, he was taken to jail.
But wait, there's more. This all could have been avoided if indeed the officer did give the man the breathalyzer test that he requested in the beginning. It would have shown that he was not drunk at all. Trying to go to school and teach children and then being arrested falsely, that's terrible. But what happens to this young man next is even worse.
Why is my son being arrested?
For driving under the influence, ma'am.
He has not been drinking, sir.
Manis was arrested and charged with DUI, but his blood work shows he was completely sober.
These officers actually knew someone in this young man's family and immediately judged him based off of somebody else. Which you can actually hear the officer say in this video about how he knows the family member before he ever even exits the vehicle to talk to this young man.
Trooper Billy Yates Matoy says he knows a relative of Manis's.
Probably got weed, probably high.
Yeah.
I guarantee you smoked weed today.
The real reason they pulled him over was because the window tint on his truck was too dark.
He was pulled over, not for swerving or speeding, but for having too dark of tinted windows.
Which makes you wonder why they started accusing him of being drunk in the first place. And in fact, if you watch the full video, they don't even mention the fact that his tint was too dark. They never even told him that was the reason they pulled him over. The young man was even extremely honest with officers. He even admitted that he used to smoke pot, but that he doesn't anymore. He stated to the officers that he hasn't touched that stuff in about 4 years.
When was the last time you smoked marijuana?
Not anytime soon. I'd say probably about 4 years ago.
Even after successfully completing every single one of their field sobriety tests, they still arrested him and took him to jail. You can hear him, just like the teacher before, asking for the breathalyzer test.
Am I in custody?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Arrested?
Yes, sir. For driving under the influence.
Is there any way I can do a breathalyzer and just...
We don't do breathalyzers, sir.
He was willing to do that test on the spot, but he was denied that option and even told by an officer, we do not do that. Even his mom could be seen asking the officer for the breathalyzer test as she drove by and witnessed as they were trying to arrest her son.
Why is my son being arrested?
For driving under the influence, ma'am.
He has not been drinking, sir. Did you give him a breathalyzer?
Ma'am, we don't do breathalyzers.
Then this is not right.
All of that isn't even the worst of it. Nope, it gets worse. Before taking him away, one officer walks to the back of his vehicle to talk to the other officer, and when he does this, he turns off the audio on his body camera. The audio was stated to be off a little over 30 seconds and hides everything that they talked about.
After the field sobriety test, Trooper Schreiner goes behind the car to talk to Trooper Yates Matoy and turns his body cam audio off. For 30 seconds, what they talk about, we don't know.
As if this wasn't bad enough, he turned it off a second time when he was talking to the tow truck driver.
And the audio is once again turned off.
These body cameras aren't just to protect the police officers. They're on these police officers also to protect people just like this man and the general public. I feel like if an officer knowingly turns off either his camera or his audio, that should be immediate suspension, if not termination, plus criminal charges against the officer, because clearly they're trying to hide something. Both of these troopers are now being sued by the family and the young man in this video, and rightfully so. There have been over 600 false DUI arrests just in the state of Tennessee alone in just the last 7 years.
Chief investigative reporter Jeremy Finley found more than 600 Tennesseans have been arrested for DUI and were completely sober.
Turns out it wasn't dozens, but more than 600 Tennesseans. 609 to be exact.
In another situation, a 76-year-old man from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, was heading home after competing in a game of pool. They originally pulled him over for his taillight being out, but when the officers questioned the man, he told them that he was heading home from playing a game of pool. One officer can be heard on camera stating, "I've never known a sober person to play much pool."
Never known a sober person to shoot much pool. Oh, I know.
It seems as though these officers already made up their mind about this Vietnam veteran before he even started his field sobriety tests. The 76-year-old man can be heard telling officers, "Well, I ain't that balanced. I'm 76 years old." And then after that, one of the officers ended up telling the man, "There's enough indicators based on everything that you have taken something that should not be in your system." Turns out, after they arrested him, took blood, the blood work came back, and this man was completely sober. It seems Tennessee doesn't care. They're gonna arrest you regardless of what you tell them or what they see, even when you're innocent.
Right now you're being placed under arrest for operating while intoxicated, okay?
Sir, I'm not intoxicated. I blew zeros.
Tennessee isn't the only state feeling the heat for falsely arresting sober drivers. Iowa police officers and the town of Newton, Iowa are dealing with a lawsuit right now for arresting an Iowa college athlete. The 19-year-old college student repeatedly can be heard asking for a breathalyzer test.
Let's do the breath now. You 2 for 2. And make sure. Blow me too, man. Give me a little blow.
I will.
Blow zeros.
I will here in a minute.
Let's blow real quick. Stop doing all these damn tests. Let's blow. Let's get to business.
And this is where officers actually denied him this. Instead, they proceeded to make him do a bunch of field sobriety tests in the dark, in the rain, and the cold.
All right, during this, keep your arms down to your side. Why are you shaking so much?
It's freezing, man. Look at you. You got all these clothes on, and I got shorts on and it's raining.
The 19-year-old was originally pulled over for having his brights on within city limits. This is where the student explained to the officers that he had a headlight out, so instead of driving with one headlight when there were no cars around, he would turn his brights on so he could see. Little did he know what was actually about to happen. The police officer started asking the 19-year-old kid if he was drunk before he even got his registration and license out of his glove box.
And I could tell by the way, like right when he got to my window, just asking me if I had anything to drink right away.
Where are you coming from? Friend's house. Okay. Anything to drink over there?
Yet, even after telling him that he hadn't been drinking and asking to take the breathalyzer test on multiple occasions, these officers still denied him the breathalyzer.
How much have you had to drink tonight?
None.
What do you mean none?
I've had nothing to drink.
Okay. Why would your eyes be watery and bloodshot?
Do you want to blow me real quick?
I don't want to blow you.
The one test that would prove without a shadow of a doubt that he had not been drinking. After multiple tests, they finally did agree to give him the breathalyzer.
You're showing some very strong signs of impairment.
Am I?
Officer Winters finally performs a breathalyzer test.
All right, what I want you to do is make a tight seal around this and blow outwards like you're blowing up a balloon, okay?
Cool.
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
Without even telling the kid what the results had said, they started reading him his Miranda rights and telling him that he was under arrest.
So I'm going to read your Miranda, okay? Right now you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
While Officer Winters does not tell Galanakis the results of the test, the zeros can be seen on the body camera video.
On the police officer's body camera, you can clearly see that the test had nothing but zeros on it, indicating the kid was completely sober. And without even showing him the results of the test, the officer then proceeded to accuse him of being on drugs and arrested him anyway.
After that, he asked Galanakis when the last time he smoked weed was.
When's the last time you smoked weed?
I do not remember that.
Tonight?
Oh.
Okay, well I think it's tonight.
I've had no weed. What? Why do you think it's tonight? Why do you think I smoke? I blew zeros, so now you're trying to think I smoke weed.
There's now a lawsuit against the officers and the Newton Police Department. Something similar happened in New York City as well, but as you'll see in this video, it's actually much, much worse.
It's a little bit of weed.
Body camera footage obtained by The Intercept shows a Staten Island police officer apparently planting marijuana in a car during a traffic stop.
Yo, he put something in my car, yo!
These NYPD officers didn't just arrest someone falsely, they planted drugs in their vehicle on camera just so that they could make the arrest. And wouldn't you know it, the camera footage from that officer wasn't seen for 2 years after that arrest.
The video, which didn't emerge for nearly 2 years, underscores the limited information available not just to the public, but also defendants.
These officers in the video, you can tell, were clearly upset that they didn't actually find anything.
Officer Erickson tells Pastrana that they need to find evidence.
Searching the car. Yeah, we gotta find something.
He searches the passenger side area first. When he finds nothing, he can be heard murmuring an expletive. Erickson looks back at Pastrana, visibly agitated.
See nothing. Nothing? I don't see anything.
But they took it upon themselves to fabricate something.
15 seconds later, Erickson returns to the front seat cup holder and sets something down.
It's a little bit of weed. Good?
Erickson shakes his head as he continues fiddling through Serrano's jacket, just out of the camera's view. A couple minutes later, the two officers say they found weed flakes in Serrano's jacket.
Flakes everywhere, though.
Yeah, no, he had weed. You could see his weed here.
Which apparently these same two officers had done before. Talk about using your position of power to ruin other people's lives on purpose. In this particular situation, the passenger in the video was actually recovering from a medical procedure due to being stabbed. And even though the gentleman had told the officers he had just had surgery for those stab wounds, you can see the officers grabbing the man, shoving him face down into the dirt and the mud, cuffing him, and then leaving him there in pain. They didn't even check on him again until the ambulance arrived. They not only showed no concern for his safety, but they also made sure that what they had done would go unpunished on their part by making sure they planted something in the vehicle to justify what they'd done. With all these false arrests and police officers failing at their job, or seemingly just profiling people, these crooked police need to be held accountable for what they're doing to drivers. Have any of you had anything like this happen, or an encounter with a police officer where they just didn't believe you? And what do you think should be done for the officers and the police departments where all this is happening? We'd love to hear back from you. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button.